Hello and welcome to Scout Trout YouTube. I'm rocking the Delaware Blue Hens. Like I just said in my last FBS rankings video, home of Joe Flacco, whose brother is playing at Towson University, who beat Maine very handily this past week in FCS football play and moved up in our rankings. We're going to talk about FCS football and our top 25 at college football today and some of the big upsets that happened this past weekend. There was a lot of them. Jacksonville State was able to beat a very good opponent, and we're going to get into more than that as we work down the rankings. North Dakota State hails at number one, former FCS champions, I think 7 years in a row now. They are 3-0 and had a really good game this weekend against Delaware, who now comes in at number 25 after they actually put up some points against North Dakota State, which was very impressive. We haven't seen that this year yet in the world of college football today. So we're really excited about FCS football. We got a lot of players playing this year. Jay Stanton scored his first touchdown for the Samford Bulldogs in Birmingham, Alabama. And Devlin Hodges got promoted to the 53-man roster, former Samford Bulldog quarterback out of Birmingham, Alabama. Very excited for him. He should be starting over Mason Rudolph if the Steelers knew what they were doing at the quarterback position, but they obviously don't. So we will leave it at that. South Dakota State Jackrabbits coming at number 2. South Dakota State only losses to a Division I opponent. They really had a good week this week. They were able to beat Drake 38-10 and are playing very good football. They also have offered Mateus Algren out of Minnesota, Pierre's Minnesota, who also holds an offer from the University of Nebraska. Scout Trout Elite athlete James Madison Dukes are 2-1. They almost beat West Virginia in the first week of the season. I thought they were going to win. They're now sitting at 2-1, and James Madison's playing very, very good football. I'm excited for what they're doing. They're great every year. James Madison, they were able to beat the piss out of Morgan State 63-12. Jacksonville State was able to beat Eastern Washington. Jacksonville State had moved out of our top 25. Eastern Washington has obviously moved down. Jacksonville State has moved back in. Eastern Washington is a dominant program every year. They were in the FCS championship last year against North Dakota State and, lost a tough one, close game. CELU, 29 points put up against a struggling Ole Miss team, 40-29 final score. Great showing from them. Great weekend of FCS football. Shout out to Howard and Coach Prunty for the big win over Hampton and Coach Prunty. The big win over Howard football. They're undefeated so far and looking great this season up until this point. Sam Houston State was knocked off by the North Dakota Fighting Hawks. Great football being played in North Dakota. Kennesaw State 42-7 over Alabama State. Let's get back into our top 25. Towson Tigers. Joe Flacco's brother is playing for them, taking the FCS path. Worked out for Joe. So Towson is now 3-0. They were able to beat Maine very handily. UC Davis moved down to number 5 after they barely beat a non-ranked opponent in San Diego. It is a close in-state rivalry, so we'll give them credit for that. They are now 2-1, and their only loss is to an FBS team. Montana State Bobcats are now 2-1 and number 6 on our FCS poll. The Northern Iowa Panthers, you got to give them credit. They nearly beat Iowa State. I thought Iowa was going to blow them out because of that, and they didn't. It was a very close game. UNI is right there with those teams when it comes to talent and what they're capable of doing. That's where my pro day was when I was in the NFL draft. Great facility. They have a really beautiful bubble they practice in and play their stuff at. So, great place to play ball, in my opinion. That's in Waterloo, Iowa. I flew on a little tiny puddle jumper with the Cleveland Browns, and he was scared to death, asked me a lot of questions, and that's his job. He's a scout. The Illinois State Redbirds were able to win this week over Indiana State, and Indiana State was a top 25 team on everybody's poll at the beginning of the season. They are now 2-1. They also were able to pull a huge upset last year in Colorado, Fort Collins, Colorado, and beat Colorado State very handily. The most surprising team this year that was in my top 25 to start the season is the Villanova Wildcats, and they have moved up from 25 at the start of the season to number 10. And Villanova is on a roll. They're one of the best teams, I think, right now, playing in the FCS football division, and very close team to watch this year as we move forward at college football today. I'm going to be paying attention to all of them every weekend. We're going to talk more about recruiting tomorrow and all of that, and all of our great kids at Scout Trout Elite who are going to make a big impact on a lot of these programs next year. And at the D1 level, D2 level, doesn't matter. As long as you're playing dog, you got a fighting shot to make an impact, and that's all you got to care about. Samford beat Wofford, who had moved out of our top 25. They were still number 22 in the other top 25. As I said, Jay Stanton was able to score his first touchdown at college football today, and very excited for that young man. I think he's going to take the Devlin Hodges path and be in the NFL one day. I think he's got the talent as an APB. So moving down the list, Weber State's sitting at 1-2. But their two losses are to FBS opponents. Very talented team. They lost 6-0 to San Diego State this past week, I think. And it is what it is. Tough. To be an FCS team playing against D1 opponents. But they were very close, and they're barely losing those games. So they're going to be fighting all year. Nicholls State still sits at number 12 at 1-1. I believe their only loss was to an FBS opponent as well. The Maine Black Bears. They dropped down the list because they lost to Towson, I think 45-22. They're now 1-2. They also lost to an FBS team as well. And Towson will play the Florida Gators this weekend on Saturday, and I think it's going to be a close game, a lot closer than people think. I think Towson's a very, very talented football team. I'm friends with some of their coaches on Facebook. I follow them closely, and they got Joe Flacco's younger brother, who was a Super Bowl champion and led the Denver Broncos down the field this week to win the football game. Princeton Tigers at number 14. Ivy League play starts up this week. A lot of people have Yale in their top 25s. Princeton played lights out football last year. One of the best, well-coached teams in college football today, and I believe Princeton is going to have another great season. We'll see if they go undefeated again. They had one of the best defenses in all of college football last year. I think they only let up like 10, 13 points a game. Very disciplined ball club. We will see what happens there. In Ivy League play, you can stream that on ESPN+. You can also stream all the other divisions. I've been watching NAIA ball on ESPN+, D2 ball, all the different divisions that have kicked off. Furman Paladins are now 1-2. But Furman, if we look at this again, Furman, they lost a really close game this weekend to an FBS opponent. If I can find it. A lot of FCS scores on here. A lot of great FCS games this weekend. So we will see. They lost to Virginia Tech 24-17 and played a great game. Tough team. I think they're one of the best FCS teams in college football. Very well coached, very well disciplined. Just like the Citadel, who beat Georgia Tech. Extremely talented team, disciplined young men. And the Central Arkansas Bears have moved into our top 25 at number 16, now at 3-0. A lot of teams lost, so they were able to crack it in and playing great football. Very talented young men, tough team to beat. North Carolina A&T Aggies, best HBCU team right now. South Carolina State lost this weekend. Tough game. But North Carolina A&T is, right now the standard for HBCU football. Southeastern Louisiana, very interesting team to me. They suffered their first loss to Ole Miss this weekend. They've been in our top 25, playing very good football, at Southeastern Louisiana. Like I said, South Carolina State lost this weekend, but they moved down to number 19 and, not playing bad. Had a great first 2 weeks. I forget who they played this week. I'm looking right now, but they had a good game. It was close. It was competitive. I believe it was an FBS team that they lost to. And, great ball club, playing great football. HBCU football is on the rise, in my opinion, having, a lot of players in the NFL the past few years, guys that are making a immediate impact, in the world of college football today. And, it's going to be interesting to see, how many guys get drafted this year. We're hosting an HBCU All-American Bowl All-American HBCU Bowl before the NFL draft with new partners I'll be announcing this week at College Football Today. Very excited about that. I enjoy getting players through the pipeline program from point A to point Z. So we will see where that goes. And then we got the Southern Illinois Salukis at number 20. Southern Illinois had a good week. I don't know who they played. I forgot. I'm going to write an article about all this, but they're having a great year so far. 2-1, beat a lot of teams they weren't supposed to beat. I think they lost to Illinois or Northern Illinois, but here they are. Nope, that's Southern Utah. We're looking for Southern Illinois. There they are. They beat UT Martin 28-14. So good showing from them. The Dayton Flyers, 2 players from Scout Trout Elite, Grant Dyer, linebacker, and Scout Trout All-American Jake Lyons are playing now for the Dayton Flyers. They're 2-0, having a great year so far. Really are competitive in the Pioneer Conference, which is unheard of. McNeese State jumped into our top 25 at College Football Today. They are now 2-1 on the season. As I stated before, Jacksonville State was able to beat Eastern Washington, who is a perennial powerhouse in FCS football. Very excited about Jacksonville State football. I actually visited there for the NFL draft, I think, in 2012, and I met some guys like Calvin Middleton, who went to the St. Louis Rams, and some other guys that ended up getting shots in the National Football League, like James Shaw, the Carolina Panthers, and Pittsburgh Steelers. Those guys, they're not playing anymore. NFL stands for not for long, but they got to live their glory out in the National Football League. Montana Grizzlies at number 24. Montana's playing great football. Justin Green is the running backs coach there. Very good coach, very competitive man. They do a very good job in recruiting. They were interested in a lot of Scout Trout players a few years ago when I first started this. And, I believe that, Montana is on the rise. I think they're going to be one of the better teams in the Big Sky. I think Sacramento State is going to end up moving into. They were picked to finish last in the Big Sky this year. Montana lost to Oregon this week, 35-3. Oregon's a tough team, but they are 2-1, and see where it goes. Sacramento State people, were talking crap on Herm Edwards and the Arizona State Sun Devils when it was 19-7. Arizona State beat them, but they were picked to finish last in the Big Sky, but they beat Northern Colorado 50-0 this past weekend. So they are on the rise. They are looking like a great ball team. And last but not least, at number 25, we got the Delaware Blue Hens. The Blue Hens of Delaware, I don't know what a blue hen actually is. It looks mean. It looks ferocious, but it's the home of Joe Flacco. They sent me some gear. A little cutoff T-shirt to wear around down here in Florida. Work with kickers and stuff, and work with athletes in general. We're having a great time down here in South Florida. Got to work with some kickers tonight. Very excited about FCS football and projecting it for the rest of the season. I think there's going to be some more great games and more great upsets in the making. UC Davis beat Lehigh 41-13. They dropped down our poll though. Because last week I think it was a very, very, very close game between them and San Diego. So not very impressed with that compared to Towson. I think Towson is on the rise. I respect the heck out of Maine, and I think they run a great program. I think that conference is on the rise. I think it's the CAAA, and they play great football, man. Nothing to sneeze at. Congrats to Arkansas Pine Bluff this weekend, and Shannon Patrick. Just watched your punter on TV for the, I think it was the Browns, Scottish Thunder or something like that. Looked great. Elon beat Richmond. Elon could be a top 25 team here in the future. Same thing with Florida A&M. All these teams are great programs. Charleston Southern was in it with North Carolina A&T. North Carolina A&T only beat them 27-21. Charleston Southern is a very good team year in and year out. As I said, Idaho almost got in because they lost 21-16 to Wyoming in Wyoming. It's a tough place to play at 8,000 feet. I was there. It's on my YouTube, and it is what it is. Like I said, Villanova beat Bucknell 45-10, brought an ass whooping. to them. And, teams like Hampton could be cracking into our top 25 here soon. Like I said, congrats to Coach Prunty. I used to play for him at Hargrave Military Academy. And I think, could be big things going on there. Morehead State played Kentucky Christian. Probably shouldn't have been playing them. An NAIA team beat them 73-34. We're going to be doing the D2 top 25 video next, recapping the D2 football top 25 and all the great things at college football today. Dayton barely escaped against Robert Morris, where we have kicker Michael Benson, and it was 34-31. He's hitting a lot of touchbacks per his dad. And kid's got an NFL leg. Kid to watch in the NFL draft in a few years. Very talented young man, picks things up quick. Can hit poles from 50 yards away, as shown at the Scout Trout 2018 All-American Bowl. And we'll see what happens. Central Connecticut State on the rise, playing very good football, 42-13 over Valparaiso. Coastal Carolina beats Norfolk State 46-7. Coastal Carolina is a Division I football team, though. They are no longer an FCS football team. And Indiana State over Eastern Kentucky. Very good team. Very good team. And it's week 3 of FCS football. They don't play the week 0 stuff. I think a few teams play week 0. But we will see what happens, at college football today. It's going to be an up and down thing. Like I said, everybody's going to be playing hard. FCS players have a chip on their shoulder. They have something to prove. And, it's going to be a great, great, great season. As I said, at college football today, we are planning our 2018 All-American Bowl down here in South Florida, making great partners, great, accomplices in what we're trying to do, and very excited about the talent down here, meeting a lot of great kids that have a lot of potential to move on to the next level and make an impact in the world of college football today. God bless. Next up, Division II football. It was crazy. I'm not going to lie. And, I'm very happy with the reception we're getting from Division II football, and I'm happy to cover them. It's fun to watch every team at college football today. We don't get to cover Division III and JUCO; it's too much with the workload we have at Scout Trout Elite and helping young men achieve their goals at the next level. Love you guys. Have a great day. Thanks for watching Scout Trout YouTube. Smash the like button. Click the links. Go to the website. Browse around. Check out our 22 and 21 top 2020 and 2021 top football recruit rankings. We have a top 300 together in each class. We have top position rankings, just like 247. It's going great. We get about 10,000 visitors a day on both websites. It is astronomical from where we came from 4 years ago. It's like Joe Flacco coming from the Delaware Blue Hens to winning Super Bowls. Anything is possible. Keep believing, keep working hard. Love you guys.